We're live.
Hi everyone, it's Juliet here and we are at Healing Water Sanctuary in the lovely Kuan Yin room and I'm here with Marion. Hi! Dr. Marion Bevington, who has been doing the trauma skills training with me, and you've started this year, haven't you?
I started in January.
Yes, we've just done module 5 of the trauma skills training, and we are now launching the advanced trauma skills training as a follow-on from the 1-year training. So I just want to ask Marion, how did you find the training so far, and how has it been different from other trainings that you've done?
So what I've been finding with the training is that the experiences that we've been able to have as students on the course has been really extensive, because the content that is delivered is done in a really concentrated way. So the content parts of the training are quite short, with a lot of information in them, and it means there's a lot of required reading to do to back up the content. But the time isn't spent delivering content, the time is actually spent on the experiential, is that the right word?
Experiential, yeah.
That's it.
On your experiences.
On the experiences that we're having.
Yeah. So we're holding a space for everyone to then go into their own healing process and to explore.
Yeah. Because I think the what often happens with training courses is, especially where the content is really interesting, because the content is super interesting, and it's stuff that it's just not in the mainstream, most of the content. So when we're learning about things, it's very it's like you can feel it viscerally, we're aware of it.
Yeah.
But consciously or mentally, we're not aware of it. And so it really helps to go, oh, that's what's happening here, and oh my God, that's why this happens, or oh my God, that's how to sort this out when this happens.
Yeah.
So when we go into different states, and it's impacting our behaviours, and it's impacting our experience of the world and our relationships and how we're being in the world, when we're in those states, if they're dysfunctional states, or if they're states that actually reduce our enjoyment of life, then really understanding what is at the root of those states is obviously a really lovely thing to do, because your mind then starts to make sense of things, and then you can start to get the mind out of the way and allow the body then to have its own experience, so that the body begins to learn how to do better in those old dysfunctional programs and processes.
So we're alongside the intellectual learning, which are very short snippets, and you do outside of the module time. You're having a lot of time to tune into your own places where you hold trauma and work at transforming it. And by doing that, because it's under the topic of that module, you're actually gaining an understanding in the body of the content. Which is
so it's like we're giving we're allowing our own bodies to find new tracks and new paths back to wellness, without being too scared of connecting to the unwellness or the trauma. Without so because the trauma is so painful, and we know that, like I know that if you get stuck in one of those states, if you get stuck in depression, or you get stuck in anger, or if you're used to getting stuck in those old ways, then there's a fear of going to that place in the body, because it's like, oh, it's a bottomless pit, I don't know how big it is, I don't know how deep I'll go, I could end up wanting to slash my wrists, or wanting to kill the person next to me. So there's all of these fears that we've got, because we haven't really measured or calibrated or experienced the biggest problem possibility, if you like. So understanding how to move away from it, because I've been using it with clients as well. And so what I say to my clients is, what we're building a path from the old problem to the new solution, which is what you want.
Yeah.
So you, by choosing what you want and by focusing on that and experiencing what it's like when you're doing what you want, or you're experiencing what you do want, and building that path, if you like. It's like, you know, with the neurology, every time you get two bits that talk to each other, the communication channel gets bigger or thicker or deeper. And so by doing that with the body, by going to the comfortable place, really often
within the body,
where it feels comfortable. How does it feel when you feel in a good place? So by constantly going back to that positive place, then we are allowing the fear to dilute or to disperse.
Yeah, and as Dr. Peter Levine says, we're decoupling it. We're bringing more spaciousness into the experience and allowing more capacity for joy.
Yes.
To develop.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even joy, is it? Sometimes it's just about power. So
power.
There was we had an example in the last training where
the developmental
trauma, and we were talking about how as children, when we're not given our own power, so the terrible twos, being able to say no, I don't want to do that, or I want to do it my way, and having parents who constantly don't let you do that.
Autonomy, not allow you to develop your autonomy.
So because that's a big part of my programs, I know that now, I'm understanding my behaviours are often, my dysfunctional behaviours are often cloaked in this. I want to be a good girl because I want to be loved, but I want to be me because I want to be me.
Yeah, you're authentic.
And I want to be loved for being me, but I feel like I have to do what people want me to do to be loved. And so being me and being loved feels like two different things. And they were in conflict within me. And so one of the processes that we did after I'd shared that I was feeling activated, I was feeling in a state about something, was to reconnect with the eyes, because that brings, we call it bringing online the... what's it called?
The social nervous system.
That's right, the social nervous system. So to come back into the social nervous system, so to know that I'm liked and to know that I'm loved and to know that I'm appreciated was the exercise that you gave me to do, Juliet. But as you said to do that exercise, suddenly the people pleaser went, oh yes, I can do that. And then the bit of me that wants to be loved for being me was like, but that means I'm just pleasing somebody else and I'm still not just being me.
So your autonomy wound kicked in at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. But I didn't know what it was because I hadn't really understood the book at the time. So by living through that experience in the room and you being able to hold the space and say, wow, it's so interesting, because sometimes the exercise that will help you isn't the best thing for you to do right now, and so I don't know what is the best thing to do right now. And you left it open for me to be aware that there was this stuff going on, and you said to me, what do you want to do? And I said, I just want to close my eyes. So I did. I just shut my eyes and I sat there knowing that everybody in the room was with me. Nobody actually cared what I did. And it wasn't like I was in trouble. I wasn't creating any problems. And it was absolutely okay for me to do that. And then when I reread that chapter in the book, it was like, oh my God, that is absolutely what happened in that session. That I was having this, I'll do as I'm told, because Juliet's told me to look at everybody and everybody in the room knows it's a really good thing to do. And then there's this other bit of me going, yeah, but that's not me. That's not who I am. That's not me making a decision. It's me just following the people pleaser. And so it was, when I read it, I was like, absolutely, my God, this is so what was happening in that session. And so because I know in my old, with my old therapist hat on, I'd have wanted to guide me through the process. And I'd have wanted me to end up having the positive experience in that space, but because you're able to see that that is not what is going to help me in that moment, I just need to be able to feel what's going on and to know that me choosing my decision and not the people pleaser is actually creating this positive pathway that we were talking about.
So in that moment you had an opportunity to repattern the autonomy damage. And I think that's the nature of this training. It's one that you get these experiences, but also it's understanding that if we're going to work at healing trauma, that we can't roll out by rote techniques that we think are going to heal trauma. And it's very much about really going into ourselves and understanding deeply within ourselves the nature of trauma, the nature of how we hold trauma, and what we need to do to help people, which is about creating safety and spaciousness for them.
Yeah, and I think the safety aspect, again, is in two parts, isn't it? Because you've got this mental safety. So when I closed my eyes, I knew that everybody in the room, mentally, I knew everybody was there. I knew it was all okay. I knew there was no problem. Mm. But then there's the body experience of actually being able to see or sense in whatever way who is in the room and bringing on that social nervous system. Yeah. And I know that that's where the deepest healing is, because we override the body so much, don't we? So I'm sitting there thinking everything's okay because I'm thinking, but there's still all this physical trauma trapped in my body and activated and either frozen or jangled, as I call it, in fight or flight. So there's all this stuff going on physically in the cells, and my mind's going, yeah, but it's okay. But I also know one of my patterns is that I absolutely disconnect.
The split,
I've got this world from the head up, and this like almost invisible hidden world from the neck down, which is what the poor body's been going through all of my life, and I've not been able to engage with it. I've not been able to understand it, and mentally I've been overriding it. And so it has meant that I've just developed really dysfunctional behaviours and really dysfunctional coping strategies, which is exactly why I'm here to undo those things, because I also know that those dysfunctional behaviours and strategies are part of what has created the autoimmune condition that I've been diagnosed with, that has now created symptoms in my body that mean that my body's not working how I want it to work.
Yeah, and as long as you're disconnected from your body, it's very hard to deal with that. Yeah. So just asking people listening here, is this something that you recognise as a pattern within yourself, that you have a tendency to disconnect from the body or to be in the head, or a difficulty in actually feeling what's going on with your body? Perhaps you don't feel safe in your body, because often we don't when we've had a lot of trauma. So this is a fundamental part of the year one training, is giving you access to your body, giving you the tools to get into your body in a way that's really safe. Yeah.
And mine, it wasn't safe for me to be in my body, and also it's painful to be there, because there was a lot of violence when I was a child. So physical violence was one of the reasons why I've disconnected, because I knew if I was clever, or if I could make my dad laugh, or if I could distract my mum, the potential for the violence, I could stop it.
Yeah.
That was my belief. And so I had to disconnect from the body, because it hurt, because I was being hit. And if I could think quickly, I could stop being hit. So there were so many reasons why this body was really not a good place to be.
Yeah. So do you feel like this year's training has been helpful for you?
It's completely changed my awareness of my journey, and how the thing, especially because the clever stuff kicks in. Oh, I think I know it, and I think I know what's going on, and I think, and I think, and I think. And I am clever, and I am intelligent, and I know that I've got this brilliant skill and brilliant capacity. But I'm also really clear now that this is one of the areas that is preventing my body from healing.
Yeah.
Because the body isn't the mind. They are absolutely intertwined, and you can't separate them.
No.
But they're not the same thing. You have to look at them with different awareness.
Absolutely, yes. So it's about building integration and stability and so on. So this year one has been very much about developing those skills, developing that awareness, and now the advanced training is very much about going much deeper, having the opportunities to practice the skills. There is some more knowledge involved, which can come after you've got the knowledge that you've got on the year one, but it's really, really about really deepening your healing capacity and deepening your skill base. And then at the end of the end modules of the advanced training is about how can I now, having transformed the energy of trauma, actually take it out into the world and create Trauma Informed Consultancy, so that we can significantly help other people in whatever sphere that we're particularly interested in.
Well, this similar conversation that we just had about my understanding these two parts, and I know there's hundreds of parts of me, but these two little parts that are the autonomy wound, or at the root of the autonomy wound, I was sharing it with a couple of friends. One of them is an ex-police officer, and I was talking about bringing trauma-informed services, because so many people who work with the public are uninformed, and so we try to drag people through the curriculum or the syllabus or the checklist, and we don't create space in that list of things to do in order to adequately facilitate the person with trauma in front of us, and also our own triggered, activated trauma processes that come up when you get angry with somebody because they can't answer the question. And because my friend who is an ex-police officer, she said she can see that it's really important that, especially somebody, you know, if you're being interviewed by the police and you're in a shutdown state, because this is what I was talking to, when I shut down, when I freeze, I can't even tell you what my name is sometimes. No. I'm so stuck and I'm so frozen that it becomes impossible for me to even speak. And if I was in a police witness chair and that was happening to me, I would be even more frightened because I'd be bullied into giving a response. Yeah. And so understanding how when somebody is in that shutdown stage, or they are in a stage where they're not in their mind to be able to answer logically or rationally, what is it that you can do as the person on the other side of this relationship to facilitate the person, you know, being able to come back online and being able to tell you what their name is.
So as a policeman, you might think, oh, well, this person is being difficult or belligerent or non-cooperative. Yeah. But in reality, they're frozen. Yeah. And that in itself would perhaps trigger that part of in the policeman that's traumatized, and then the police officer might go into aggression or violence. Yes. Unconsciously not knowing, and then acting it out and harming in some way, either emotionally or just being abusive, the young person that's in there for questioning. So the police officer is largely unaware that he's traumatized, but putting all the blame on the
other person. It's as typical with my dad and some of my brothers. Yeah. So I've seen it happen at home. You know,
getting bullied by
and being punished for not being able to respond logically or intelligently to my dad. So I've seen it. So as I was having this conversation with my friend, she said it's a big job because obviously the police officers don't want to feel that they're guilty of causing more harm, and they don't want to feel that they're guilty of not serving whatever their job is supposed to be at that time. And so the task that we've got ahead of us is a huge one, because to be able to facilitate helping police officers, firemen, nurses, teachers, all of these people who are, you know, really living in a vocational way and living a life of service, which is what they're doing, isn't it? Yes. How can we support their life of service by giving them access to the tools that we now know and the information that we now know about how trauma can impact people, and what can we do when people are impacted by their traumas, so that we can facilitate whatever the situation is that we're trying to resolve.
And to get the best results for people, for children and people in hospitals, mental hospitals, in prisons and so on, getting the best results for them and getting the best results for the professionals working with them, which is why I'm designing this training and why I'm creating the possibility for people like you, Marion, to be able to be an emissary of Trauma Informed Consultancy in the world, so that we can make this fundamental planetary shift that's so needed at this time.
And I love the word emissary because it's about light, isn't it? Yeah, it's the bringer of the light.
Bringer of the light, yes.
So we're shining a light on trauma and showing how it's possible to heal it.
Yes. So what can we say about the advanced training?
Come and do it!
come and do it. So it's starting in June 2019. So I think first of all you would need to check in and do the advanced the
practitioner training.
The practitioner training, the year one, and from then you can go on to the advanced training. But if you're listening to this as one of my former students, then just to say that the advanced training is now there scheduled and that you can sign up for it. If you are somebody that has already done a lot of previous trauma healing work, which is body-based, which is somatically based, and you've already got a grasp of those principles, then the advanced training is for you as well. It's not for somebody that's highly traumatized and thinks that this is going to be their path to healing at this moment in time. So for you please contact me or contact another trauma healing therapist to get that work. I'm moving, the sun is coming in and turning me into a bright light.
And also, if anybody watching this is interested in how trauma-informed education could help them in their role, because we've got a really big job ahead of us.
Yeah,
so, you know,
huge.
if you are a policeman or a policewoman, if you're a fire person, if you're a nurse or a social worker or a doctor or a teacher, and you know that you're having to deal with people who do have active trauma that is impacting the resolutions that you want to bring for them or to bring for yourself, because we really appreciate all of the different service industries and people who serve. The essence of service is beautiful, and so we'd like to be able to help to facilitate anybody who does want to serve and do it in the best interest of everybody involved.
Yes, the interest of everyone. All life on earth needs to be supported and helped and healed. That's my intention.
Cool.
So, thank you for your time, and it's a beautiful day, the sun's shining. I hope it's beautiful where you are. And if you have any questions, please put them underneath this video. My contact details are here as well. And I'm really happy to answer personally to you if you've got something that you're troubled by or curious about. So reach out, and please share this video.
Thank you.
Bye. The light's coming. Bye.
You've got big bright hands.
Bright healing hands. Bye.
Okay.
Bye. How do I turn it off?
That's it. Oh.